the wonderful track of the Nürburgring in Germany. And this is the final race for the season of the CMSC Race from Home Championship. We're at the moment in the opening lap in Nürburgring as the cars go down into the tight right-hander, which is the first gear, and you find Thiago overtaking Ashan into the first corner, outbrakes him, and now he's going to be following Rise as we find Viren Boteju also getting the better of Ashan, and Thiran leads the pack, followed by Thiago, followed by Raizuem, and then Viren Boteju. Up ahead we find that Thiran Pereira has managed to stretch his legs a little bit from the ensuing cadre. The hounds are chasing the rabbit kind of thing here, as you find all the cars now getting into a rhythm, into a sequence, as Thiran seems to have pulled a 1 second lead away from Thiago, and Huzaifa Jafarji from the back of the pack is trying to fight his way up as Thiago now overtakes Thiran to take the lead. Not too sure how exactly that panned out, but the monster of a Mercedes seems to have the legs on the Lexus, and the Lexus now being challenged dreadfully by the fast-moving Subaru. So there's a 4-place jump for Thiago from 4th, where he started off, is now come up to lead the pack into the first at the end of the first lap, as Thiran now tries to outbrake as Viren outbrakes himself, and I'm not too sure whether there was contact, but that was wonderful driving by Viren. He took the inside line, braked a smidgen later, but Thiran was caught napping in that unusual situation and is now fighting with Viren. Viren has now taken the position away from Thiran. This is absolutely amazing racing, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at the Nürburgring at the final round of the Race from Home Championship, organized by the Ceylon Motorsports Club, sponsored by Sri Lanka Telecom and Mobitel, along with our racing partner Demo, who are the franchise holders of the lead running car at the moment, Mercedes-Benz. Thiago has managed to pull a lead of 1.2 seconds from a charging Viren Boteju, as Huzaifa Jafarji has not managed to make any impression as at now with regards to Ashan Silva, and Ashan also trying to motor his way around Riaz Hafrat and Brian Pereira, who has now managed to get the better of Riaz, and Ashan is in 5th place chasing Raizuem with 6/10 gap. So there you have it. You have the gaggle of Porsches running all the way in the Pro Race 1, Pro Race 2, which is the final of the Race from Home Championship. Huzaifa Jafarji leads the championship away from Brian Pereira, and Yevan David, who's not here with us today as he has had another race to take part in the Causeway Cup this weekend. We wish him all the very best, as Thiago still maintains the first place so far from Viren Boteju and Thiran Pereira and Bryce Uem. The gap now 7 seconds to Huzaifa Jafarji, who's managed to get past Riaz Hafrat. I'm not too sure what exactly happened to Riaz, but Riaz has had a bit of a bad day in the office, and Ashan Silva making sure that he runs the widest GTR ever created by Nissan, and Riaz just get the run on Ashan, but Ashan, he knows what he's about. He's making sure that he blocks the racing line Riaz trying to go around the outside, no chance. I'm sorry, that's not Riaz, that is Huzaifa at the moment. In the excitement, I've missed who's who in the zoo. And that point, I think Huzaifa has got the line into the corner. Huzaifa gives him a tap. That's not really on. He sends him a little wide. And Ashan, I'm sure, is going to come back and outbreak Riaz into the first of the corners. This is a wonderful track. As we still see Thiago, he's got the fastest lap, 1 minute 56.974. I'm sure the other drivers with the fuel reduction coming into play will manage to get quicker times as well, but at the moment Thiago has managed to keep a gap of 1.6 seconds between himself and Viren. Strategy in the pits is going to be crucial because this is a two-stop strategy. Some might need to do three. It's all about how they're going to save their fuel as we ride on board with Tiran, and Tiran has already gone through 3/4 of his fuel tank. So that's not an ideal situation to be in because this should be a two-stop strategy for most drivers. As you ride on board with Tiran Pereira, as an extremely different camber elevation there, as the cars do drop. If you take the inside into that first corner, it's going to be really bad. The drop is very severe and it does dislodge the car, it does unsettle the car. As we now ride on board with Tiran, as Thiago seems to have pulled a 2.5 second gap between himself and Tiran, and about a 7 second gap between Brian and himself. But having said that, the Porsches generally run longer. They run one pit stop less than the mighty Mercedes. So Thiago has no choice. The first three cars actually have no choice but to scamper away and pull a gap at least by 15 seconds, so that then they can come in and go out of the pits and will be somewhere in contention with the fast running Porsches. So Brian, Rice, Huzaifa and Riaz all running a much longer strategy in this, and they will come down as Tiran tries his level best. No, it didn't work out. Tiran trying his level best to go on the inside into that chicane, but not really his thing. I think Thiago also has made a mistake somewhere. He's dropped a couple of tenths, and these two guys really on the money. I am wondering whether Tiran can pull this off because Viren is on the inside. No, it's not going to work, and Viren is now really pushing in to catch hold of Thiago, and Thiago is in the pits. That's a very early pit stop for Thiago. I think he's really pushed his car to the limit, and he's obviously running a two-stop strategy while everybody else must be running a three-stopper. So there you have it. Viren is now leading the pack with Tiran, and Tiran might outbreak him, but he might run wide as well, and on the switchback Viren might be able to take him. Yes, I told you, Viren did take him on the switchback. Oops, there's a bit of argy-bargy there. That's not really on. I'm not too sure exactly what happened, but Viren has managed to hold it, and Viren still leads it. No, Tiran has taken it. Now Viren is on the inside. No, he's not. He's right behind. And this is wonderful racing, ladies and gentlemen. I think Viren did get Tiran just did get a bit of a penalty for a little bit of contact, but that's something the game will decide, as well as the stewards. These guys really on the limit because their tires are gone. You can see the red lines on the tires on the right side. It says RS for Racing Soft, and the fronts are really short. And I'm not too sure how long Viren is not going to hold on. If I were Viren, I'd come in for a tire change, and that's really going to ruin his strategy because he's neither here nor there. If he manages to run 6 to 7 laps, no, he cannot do it. Both will have to come in for fresh tires, and that gives okay. He's run wide again because of his bad tires. He's running wide and he's losing grip. I don't know exactly what he's planning on doing because he's lost almost a second in those 2-3 corners as Tiran manages to pull away, and I can see Viren's fuel light blinking as well, which means the pits are going to call him in and say box right now. As you'll see, Viren now taking the inside line. Yes, Viren and Tiran both taking the inside line. being a bit naughty there and taking the pit lane line, as Brian Pereira takes the lead away from Tiran, as Thiago has already done his first pit stop, and he's going to be coming out somewhere in 7th place, as Tiran and Viren has not pitted. I'm not too sure what exactly happened there. And I think Viren has made a mistake. He'll have to come in or he's going to run out of fuel, because his car has changed the tires and he's not put any fuel. That was strange, because he should have come in, he should have changed tires, and he should have put fuel, and now his car, I can see the car is running absolutely on fumes. As Ashan Silva will have to do a pit stop as well very soon. And I'm very surprised that Riaz Hafrat, who was actually leading the race in the previous one, has now not managed to make much of an impression on this particular track, whereas the other 3 Porsches have really made an impression. Brian, Huzaifa and Rise have really got their act together, as Thiago Pereira comes in 7th place. He's 13 seconds away from the lead. He's done a pit stop and finished, whereas the others have not done a pit stop. Momentarily, if the others do a pit stop, you will see that Thiago will be back in the lead, but that too will be a very short-lived operation, because he will have to come in for his second pit stop. I'm sure Viren is running the car on very, very low fuel. He's got a couple of corners more to go. I hope he doesn't run out of fuel. The car is still doing a 220 kilometers an hour, which means he's still planting the loud pedal all the way to the bottom. And as he goes through the last couple of chicanes, and he's going to come in here, he's done an unnecessary pit stop, and both cars coming in. I really feel sorry for Viren, because it's not something that he wanted, I'm sure, but he's got to do an extra pit stop because he has absolutely no fuel. That's a sad situation for him, as you see thank you CMSC on the door of Viren Boteju, and again tuned by Sabri Salam apparently, car on the side of the door, and we see the Sri Lanka Telecom Mobitel livery as well, and the Nemo 800. So all the livery on Viren Boteju's car, and we wish him all the very best, and his tuner, for making this car run in such a good way. As we see Brian Pereira motoring around the track, followed very closely by Huzaifa, and I'm telling you, I do not want to be in Brian Pereira's mirrors, because he's going to have a fast charging Huzaifa, and Huzaifa dives down the inside. Yes, has he done it? No, he has. Absolutely clean racing. Yes, he has done it. That was a beautiful overtake, but it's not over as yet. Brian is not going to give it up. Brian might take him. Will he take him? No, Huzaifa has covered the door. He's a brilliant driver, Huzaifa Jafarji. That's why he's leading the championship, and that's why these two guys are leading the championship. We're sad that we didn't have Jevan David, because had we had Jevan, it would have been a cat among the pigeons to see exactly what he can do. But the two Porsches clearly in a different league of their own, as Riaz Hafrat, who's in third place, is now on a very economy roll. He's not even throttling that car, because he knows he's got to get it all the way to the pits, and he's just a little bit away from the pit entrance. The car has run 5,781 kilometers of testing and racing this year, and the car was bought brand new by him at the beginning of the year, and that's how many kilometers he has done on this track. No engine change, and that's a brilliant testament to how the Porsches are running. And Brian Pereira, ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call the epitome of confidence. He's out on running another lap while everybody else is coming to the pits. That's how economical Brian Pereira is. A true and worthy championship contender and winner. Unfortunately, the championship is decided, and Brian cannot win this championship. Huzaifa has already won it, but had Brian come into race one race before and not had what he had in a couple of races, he did have a couple of issues, he would have been the championship leader of this event. As we ride on board with Thiago, Thiago has to do one more pit stop. He's cruising along and coming along. As we ride on board with Brian, I really like to see how much of fuel Brian has left in his car. He must be running on fumes, smoke, and whatever else the car has in its fuel tank. Brian has, if you look at Brian, he's done only 4,800 kilometers in his car, which is almost 2,000 kilometers less than what Riaz Hafrat has done. And he makes it to the pits. He's an amazing boy, I tell you. I watched him race go-karts. I've watched him race formulas, and he's an amazing driver. All hats off, all credit to Brian, and he's made it there. And he will take less fuel in this particular pit stop, which means he will have the jump on something radically wrong somewhere, because the car has taken so much of time to fuel in. Something went wrong somewhere. I hope Brian... Okay, so we've now figured the problem. Brian's fuel strategy has made him run 30 seconds lower in the whole process, and I am afraid that when Thiago does do a pit stop and come, it will be very touch and go, that even Thiago might overtake him on track. It's going to be a real calamity here. Unfortunate for Brian. I think Josefa's call was right, because running that extra lap would have really not given him that much of an advantage. So there you have it. Unfortunate, but true. These guys are the pro drivers. These guys are the pro drivers in the Ceylon Motorsports Club race from Home Championship. This is the final round. As we see these cars come along, it's a beautiful series that we've had. All credit to Mobitel and Sri Lanka Telecom and Demo for assisting us. There's been absolutely no racing this year thanks to the pandemic and COVID, and all credit to Sabri Salam and Sam Hinkender for having pulled this off. It was a tireless effort on their part to make this championship a reality, and all credit to them. As we see Thiago in the pits, and Thiago is going to come out behind Brian, as Brian has done quite a quick run. I'm not too sure what exactly happened there, as a bit of a splash and dash, but he's going to come out really far down. He's come down 4 seconds, but he's got a fast charging Riaz Hafrat right on his tail. But again, you're talking of fresh rubber on the Merc as opposed to Riaz. And I hope Sainty does prevail and there's no contact between these drivers. As we ride on board with Riaz, who follows the mighty Mercedes. And you find Thiago getting a little argy-bargy there. It's not really Riaz's fault. The car does get out of line, and Riaz has nowhere to go but go into the back of the Mercedes. But I'm sure now Thiago will get his act together and try to pull a gap between himself and Riaz. Nevertheless, the championship here is the deciding point has been done, but there's still a little bit of room between Viren and Rise, who are fighting for the position which is 6th place in the championship. As we see Rise Williams green color Porsche with a thank you CMSC on it. It's a lovely, beautiful car. As Ashan Silva rides in the yellow color GTR with his company logo Lap 57 branded right across it. We are told that he started a workshop in Sri Lanka by the name of Lap 57, catering to all kinds of motoring needs in Sri Lanka, which will open shortly. We wish him all the very best as that happens. As Huzaifa Jafarji in that psychedelic car of his with the Liqui Moly logo tries to motor his way to the checkered flag. And Viren Boteju, the never say die driver in that mighty blue Subaru of his. Wrong choice of car, as many said, but Viren has proved them wrong by coming second so far. We hope that he can run 2 more laps with the tires he has, because Brian, Tiran and Thiago are charging up on him. And this car, the Subaru, once the tires go away, there's absolutely no way that you can run the car with the same velocity that you had earlier. And he has Brian on his rear view mirror and Brian has Tiran. These guys are all deadly drivers. They will fight right up to the end. Tiran, son of Yoga Pereira, a very, very interesting driver, a lovely person to have a chat with, lots of humor, and he races a Mini in Sri Lanka. Brian Pereira used to race the Formula LGB, and Rise UM used to race as well. And Ashan Silva is he's no stranger to motorsport, as well as Viren Boteju, who's one of Sri Lanka's premier tuners, who works for Platinum, the company which manufactures, who tune up all these cars. As Rise UM of Riaz Afrat tries to go around the outside, slightly wrong place. You can never do it on the outside there. Thiago, knowing, really slowed him down and tried to get the better of him, and Thiago knew exactly where it was. And unfortunately, Viren has had to go for a splash and dash, and that is sad because he was in second place. That car is very hungry, and that has elevated Thiago to fourth place. As, come on guys, this is really bad. This is really bad. This is not the way motorsport should happen. As Rise tried to go down the inside, and that really didn't work properly for him. Viren Boteju has got the better of Thiago as we ride on board with Thiago again. It's one of those moments where the championship is going to be decided as to where in the wake where Viren finishes decides his championship position. Viren seems to be driving extremely well. All credit to Viren because he's pushing that car to its limit to make sure he catches Tiran. Not too sure how much fuel Viren has. He may have fueled himself. There's only a few more corners to go, so we wish him all the very best. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the last corner. And we congratulate Huzaifa Jaffrji on winning the Pro-Am Championship in the Pro class by 6 seconds in the final race. Huzaifa Jaffrji has won the championship, followed by Brian Pereira and so there's been a wonderful finish to the race because Viren Boteju has taken Tiran Pereira in the last corner of the last lap. So there you have it. Huzaifa Jaffrji wins this race, followed by Brian Pereira, followed by Viren Boteju, followed by Tiran Pereira, Thiago Pereira, Riaz Hafrat and Rai Zuem and Ashan Silva. What happened there? we're back, ladies and gentlemen. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, in the wonderful German Isles of Nürburgring, as we have Sam Smith with his Porsche, which says thank you CMSC as well, in the final round of the AM1 Championship. We've got Sam Smith, Adam Junaid, Kamal, Mevan Pereira, Shami Alvis and Rushdie Irshan, who are in the running for the final round of the championship. There's, from what I see, Mevan Pereira has already won the championship, but having said that, Adam Junaid manages to squeeze past Sam. Sam was very slow in that little tight right hand corner. He was absolutely slow. He didn't really show commitment there, and that allowed Adam to squeeze past him, and so has Mevan. And I'm sorry to say, but Sam has made a fundamental error of turning in a bit too late, all on his own. He turned into Mevan he was a little too late, and Mevan said thank you very much. And Shami Alvis, Rushdie Irshan and Kamal all squeezed by him. Sam has now to fight all the way back. Sam at the moment is in a comfortable third place, so wherever he finishes he's going to be third in the championship, and Sam's still trying to get the better of himself. We've got a gaggle of cars, Mevan, Shami and Irshan and Kamal all running in a train of cars. There's a Jaguar F-Type, there's a Subaru, there's an Evo and there's another Subaru, all running tooth and nail in this whole round, which is the final round of the CMSC Race From Home Pro-Am Championship, which is sponsored by Mobitel. We are here at the wonderful X Station, which has all these internet-based gizmos, as Adam has managed to scamper away with a 2.8 second lead, as there has been a little bit of an incident there, as the cars, it's going to happen, it's bound to happen. 3 cars running abreast into that corner was never going to happen, as Mevan Pereira managed to entangle himself with the rest. As we ride on board with Shami Alvis, Shami is a very cool contender in his Subaru. As he goes down, he's on the outside, he's waiting to see who's going to make a mistake. I'm sure he's waiting for a switchback. Yes, he took one place on that one. He was waiting there. Shami is a very smart driver, very calm, and he got hammered by Kamal there on the inside. He was going to happen 2 cars abreast. If I were Shami, I'll brake a little and take him on the switchback, but no, Shami says I'll take him on the inside here, and he gets the better of Kamal, and now he chases Mevan Pereira. Mevan is another very good driver. He knows where to keep the F-Type, and as Shami goes round that very tight right-hander into 4th gear, 5th gear, and I'm sure he'll brake into 2nd when he comes down here. But tight braking into 3rd, into 2nd, yes, that's into 2nd and out, and a short straight into the little left-hander, which will be the penultimate corner before the tight chicane. A left, a right, and then he will ride into the tight chicane over the curbs, and that will be the entry into the right-hander, which is a very long right-hander, and a long straight from there, which will be, yes, he's got the better drive there. Yes, Shami has got a nicer drive, but Mevan is on the inside. I'm sure Shami will cross them a little bit to make sure that Mevan doesn't come down. No, he doesn't. Mevan is all, yes, Mevan did come down, and there was contact. There was nowhere for Shami to go, and he had to put all 4 wheels on the grass, and he came around, but that's okay. All's fair in love and war and in motorsport in that kind of situation. And there you have it, the 3 cars there, as Mevan is now running parallel with Kamal. We don't see Adam because Adam has managed to scamper away, but Mevan is on the inside. He's going to break later, and he's going to take... Oh no, that was a bad one. That was a bad one by Mevan. Completely misread the corner there. There is a huge change in the camber, and somebody seems to have got a penalty for that one. As you saw, Sam Smith, he bounced off the inside. You have to go on the outside around that corner, because if you take it on the inside, the camber, the elevation change is so great that the car gets absolutely unstable. So Rushdie Irshan in the Coca-Cola branded Mitsubishi Evolution is coming all the way from the back, and he is now second place, following Adam Junaid, who is leading Rushdie Irshan by 2.2 seconds. This, ladies and gentlemen, is round 1, or race 1, which is the only race of the day, of round 10, which is the finale of the Pro-Am Race from Home Championship. So Adam Junaid now being caught by Rushdie Irshan, 1.5 seconds being the gap, and that Coca-Cola branded car also has Pro Bikes on the car, which must be one of his sponsors. Beautiful car, a Mitsubishi Evo 10, following a Subaru STI. Not too sure what the number of the STI is, maybe a 9. A 12. I'm told it's a 12. And Adam Junaid driving the Subaru. I'm sure the father had something to do with it, because the father races or rallies the Subaru as well. Shafraz Junaid, father of Adam Junaid, must be sitting right next to him and telling him, turn here, turn there, brake, because Adam is only 10 years old and he's driving this like he is a 28-year-old. So there you have it. Adam Junaid now being caught by Rushdie Irshan, and Shami Alvis in third place. And we have it as Adam and Rushdie motor around on lap 4 of lap 13. So if I were Adam's front tire seems to be quite bad. He's going to lose a little bit of time in relation to Irshan, because Irshan's got a lot better grip in the front end, and Adam very soon might have to decide, without trying to defend his position, let Rushdie Irshan go, because he's going to lose a lot of time. As I just said, his front tires are so bad that he's going to have a lot of understeer on that car, and it'll just a matter of time when Rushdie Irshan is going to take Adam, as he may have taken him there into the right-hander. Yes, Rushdie has taken him, because Adam doesn't have the front end, but the next one is a left-hander. Adam might brake a little later. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have the capability of doing that with Rushdie Irshan, but Adam gets a better drive and he gets on the inside, and if I'm not mistaken, that's a right-hander. And Adam was on the inside. Yes, Adam has taken Rushdie. It's going to be a drag race down to the first corner, which is a tight right-hander, and it's anybody's guess as to where Adam is going to be. Adam manages to get the place back, but Rushdie is going to have to go around the outside of this one, because Adam is going to cover the inside and he's going to go a little wide. Rushdie is bounced the car on the inside. No, that won't work, because the left one is a left-hander. The next corner, it's a right, a left again, and to a right, and into a right again, and into a sharp right-hander again. So it's not going to be easy, and the little straight that is there after this right-hander is where Rushdie Irshan will have to get the better drive to make sure that he takes Adam. Yes, he does. There's a little bit of aji-baji there, that Rushdie does cut across Adam's pathway, but Adam also will have to decide what he wants to do, because in the melee you're getting Shami Alvis catching Adam as well. If I look at the tyre situation now, Adam's front tyres are pretty worn out in relation to Shami Alvis. So Adam needs to conserve his tyres because he needs to run 2 more laps to make sure he does a pit stop. If he doesn't, he has to do a 3-stop strategy, which will be detrimental to his overall running. As we ride on board with Kamal, Kamal is at the moment in 4th place. He's running almost 6 seconds away from Shami, or 7 seconds, and Mevan Pereira is 2.2 seconds away from Kamal. Sam Smith, unfortunately, after that first lap debacle, he's dropped down by 18 seconds to Mevan, and a total of 29 seconds overall. So that's not too good for Sam. Sam is 3rd in the championship. I don't know what happened to him. He's a good boy, drives very well, level-headed, and a square pair of shoulders on top of his head, or under his head. And there we have it. Kamal in the identical car to Adam Junaid, having also the same amount of tyre wear as Adam Junaid comes in to the pits for the first of his 2 pit stops. I think that's a bit of a bad one for Adam, because Kamal, who's driving the identical car, has managed to conserve his tyres and he's run 6 laps. If he runs 1 more, which means he can run with a 1-stopper, and if Adam doesn't have to do the 2nd stop, which means his 2nd stint is going to be a little longer than his first, which is very, very questionable, because he'll have to make sure that he conserves his tyres and his fuel to such a level. The fuel is not the problem, the tyres are the problem, as he will have to make sure that he doesn't run out of tyres at some point of time. As you find Mevan Pereira gets parallel with Kamal, but Kamal having none of it, but Mevan having the better grip in his car, makes sure that he positions himself beautifully on the inside, brakes a little later, and that's a long sweeping right-hander into the left-hander, by which time Mevan Pereira has taken the place and jumped up to 3rd place. So Adam Junaid, after that pit stop, is 20 seconds below Kamal and having to fight his way up, as we see Mevan Pereira now fighting his way up and trying to catch Shami Alvis, who's 5.7 seconds away from Mevan. Meanwhile, up ahead, Rushdie Irshan, all by himself in that Coca-Cola branded Mitsubishi Evolution, is heading towards the very infamous chicane, which is just before the pit entrance. You got to bounce the car on the left-hand curb, you got to bounce the car on the right-hand curb, yet for all, not dislodging the car and making sure that you get the drive, because that corner gives you all the entry speed, which depicts your straight line speed at the end of the straight. So it's a crucial corner. Always in motorsport, the most crucial corner is the corner before the longest straight that you have to encounter in a race. So Rushdie makes sure that he runs perfectly on line, and it is amazing to see Rushdie too has managed to pull another lap. He squeezed out all the tyres, all the fuel out of his car to make it run 8 laps before he does the pit stop, which is what he would have to do, whereas Adam, Shami and Kamal have already pitted in their first pit stop, and we wait to see where exactly Shami and Kamal will come. Shami has come out ahead of Adam, so that's the kind of lead he had. Kamal might be behind Adam because he's rather a long pit stop, and Kamal has changed his tyres to mediums, so which means he has decided he's going to run this one all the way to the wire on a set of medium tyres, whereas everybody else are running soft compound tyres. So Rushdie Irshan now coming just before his pit, the pit window just about a kilometer and a half from where he is at the moment. So Rushdie Irshan still managing to hold station, and he is just about coming into the pits. He's going to have a pit stop which is 14, which is about 20 seconds. But the good news is that Mevan Pereira, who's second, is also coming into the pits, and Shami Alvis, who's third, who's already done a pit stop, is 29 seconds away, which means that by the time that Rushdie and Mevan come out of the pits, they'll still be ahead of Shami Alvis after the pit stop. From what I see, Rushdie, Mevan, Shami, Kamal and Sam are all going to run all the way to the wire and the checkered flag, whereas Adam may have to come in for a pit stop if he has down the line, because he may run out of fuel or tires. So we have to see. I'm sure Shafraz would have planned his strategy out to know exactly where he's going to be. You can see J Holmes, his sponsor, and there's Maxi's tires as well on the side of the car. Adam's sponsors are J Holmes and Maxi's tires, as he runs extremely wide. I'm sure he might get a penalty on that one because he ran 4 wheels off, and as he comes back and he come back on track, Rushdie Irshan has done the fastest lap of 2 minutes 5:6:1, which is the fastest lap which has been achieved by anybody on this track after the lights went green. And Shami Alvis is now just a smidgen and away, 2.2 seconds away from Rushdie Irshan. The gap is not really closing, but the gap is not really increasing as well. So anything is given here, as the gap keeps on swinging like a pendulum between 2.2 seconds to 2.5 seconds and then back to 2 seconds. So when one turns into a corner and breaks, the other one gets closer and the gap reduces, and vice versa. We've got 5 laps more to go on this in the CMSE Pro Am Championship, brought to you by Mobitel and Sri Lanka Telecom and our motorsporting partner Mercedes-Benz and Demo 800. We are at the Mobitel X station, and we thank Mobitel for their patronage on this one, their sponsorship, and giving us the data, the location to run this, as well as assisting us with awards and prize money as well. So ladies and gentlemen, final round of the CMSE Pro Am Championship is underway in the AM1 class, which we have. We had an initial amount of almost 12 drivers who took part, and it's dwindled down to 6 because these are the final drivers who are actual contenders in the championship, as Rushdie Irshan manages to pull a 2.6 second lead, and Shami Alvis has managed to pull a 3.8 second lead from Adam. I can understand that Adam is now on a slight conservative run because he needs to save his fuel to make sure he runs the next 4 laps. Otherwise, he's going to be out of fuel, and he's got a gap of 11 seconds to Mevan Pereira, and I think if he drives cautiously, that is going to be a 3rd place guaranteed for Adam. on the final lap. All credit to Rushdie Irshan, who's managed to hold station. And we come up to the penultimate bit of the laps as Shami Alvis pursues Rushdie Irshan in this AM1 event. Shami Alvis will, at the end of this, end up in 4th place in the championship. Unfortunately, Rushdie Irshan is a little further down. Nevertheless, it's a great effort on everybody's part. The last corner, ladies and gentlemen. As we come into the last corner, Rushdie Irshan takes a checkered flag from Shami Alvis, followed by Mevan Pereira, who's still coming along. And Mevan coming around the last corner as we see it. And he's going to take the checkered flag. Mevan is the champion of this M1 class, followed by Adam Junaid and Sam Smith. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 3 of the M1 championship final. Rushdie Irshan, Shami Alvis, Mevan Pereira, Adam Junaid, Kamal and Sam Smith have won today, or have placed in today's event. We congratulate Rushdie Irshan, but our congratulations goes out to Mevan Pereira, Adam Junaid and Sam Smith, who have come 1, 2 and 3 in this championship, as this is the finale. We congratulate all these drivers, and we'll see you back in about 10 minutes when the AM2 race takes place. And now we are back for AM2, and this is the only race for the day, which is the final race of the AM2 CMSC Pro Am Championship, sponsored by Mobitel and Sri Lanka Telecom. We're here at the wonderful X Station down on Duplication Road, watching Sachetana Patirana, Shamika Atisha Kitwit, Kevin Pereira, Dilan Sabha, Akil Rizni and Dasun Ranatunga. So Dasun Ranatunga was the one who qualified on pole, followed by Akil Rizni and Dilan Sabha. So they were 1, 2 and 3 in qualifying by virtue of a reverse grid. They are now at the back, and they're going to fight their way all the way up from last all the way up to the first if they can. The championship leader of this particular category is Dasun Ranatunga, followed by Kevin Pereira and Dilan Sabha. The gap between Dasun Ranatunga and Kevin Pereira is 24 points, and I'm not too sure whether there'll be too much of a change there, but we wish everybody all the very best as we ride on board with Adisha Kitwit in his customary VW, and a beautiful, that was a bad one, but that's okay. It was not a bad move there. It was slightly ill-timed, but Adisha Kitwit running a beautiful Volkswagen Sirocco with Kitwit Racing on the side of it. Not too sure, I can't see any of the branding from CMSC. It's there, all the branding is there, and Sachetana Patirana following him quite closely, and that's Dasun Ranatunga right at the back. It will be interesting to see what the Ferrari and the Lamborghini are going to do with the Mitsubishi Evolution in front. They're all in a train. We ride with Dasun because we want to see what Dasun is going to do. Oh gosh, that was a bad one. Some of the cars running all the way on the grass, 4 wheels on the grass. I'm sure penalties will be applied as Kevin Pereira gets squeezed a bit. There's a lot of argy-bargy going along here, but none which is life-threatening nor position-changing, and everybody goes and lives to fight another day as Dasun Ranatunga waits at the back, and outbreaks Kevin as Akil Rizni does a wonderful run from 7th place. He comes all the way up to 4th. Beautiful drive by Akil Rizni as he chases the M4 of Shamika Gamage, if I'm not mistaken, that's his name, as he's being chased by Akil Rizni, and Dilan Sabha tries to get parallel with him. And there you have it, the Lamborghini on the inside, and that's where it's going to be a tough one, but it was a little too late, and oh no, Shamika Gamage made a total mess up of that one, braked a bit too late, and he ran wide, and that allowed Akil Rizni, Dilan Sabha, Dasun Ranatunga and Kevin Pereira to pass him. But Adisha Kitwit is now clearly a hand and a foot ahead of Sachetana Patirana, 4.6 seconds, while Akil Rizni is almost 5.7 seconds away from the fast running Adisha Kitwit. Dasun Ranatunga comes down the inside of Dilan Sabha. Dilan has no choice but to allow the fast moving Ferrari to go down the inside, and Dilan lets him go and decides to fight another day. There you have it. Akil Rizni now on the tail of Sachetana Patirana. The Milo sponsored car with lap 57 on the back of it. His sponsors for the day, as Akil Rizni chases the Mitsubishi Evolution of Sachetana Patirana. Sachetana, lucky man, didn't have power today for most of the morning, and finally got power when we were just about to start the racing, so he was a lucky man. And there you have it. Akil Rizni goes down the inside. I think Sachetana might do the switchback. Yes, he did the switchback. and got the better of Akhil. Akhil has to try the inside line there, and he does manage to do it. The Lamborghini has superior handling, I presume, as he turns into the corner, the nose pointing in the right direction, directly at the apex, no missing the apex, as Sachetana Pathirana misses the apex by a country mile, and that allows Dasun Ranatunga to catch him as well. As soon as he lost his apex there, Dasun managed to get the better of him, and there you have it. Sachetana has lost the corner and the acceleration there quite badly. And Sachetana Pathirana unfortunately went from hero all the way down to 7th place or 6th place, as he ran wide, lost concentration, and gone all the way down. Unfortunate for him, but in the process, Akhil Rizni has managed to now bring down the lead of Adisha Kitwit, which was 5.8 seconds, all the way down to 3.4. That's creditable for him, as the two Italian cars bounce themselves over the curbs, riding beautifully, the Lambo looking beautiful in green, and the Ferrari looking beautiful in black and orange. A very rare combination of colors for a Ferrari, as Akhil Rizni sets the fastest time of 2 minutes 6 seconds 380 round this Nürburgring track, which is 4.9 kilometers. We are 13 laps in total for the race, and 4 laps already done. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final race of the AM2 class of the CMSC Pro Am Championship Esport event, sponsored by Mobitel and Sri Lanka Telecom. Akhil Rizni has brought the gap down to 6/10, as Adisha Kitwit in that beautiful Volkswagen Sirocco tries his level best to stay ahead of the fast coming Lambo. It will be interesting to see where Adisha is going to be taken by the Lambo, if any, and Adisha runs a little wide. Akhil Rizni taking a tighter line, and Dasun Ranatunga in the slipstream, waiting to see what is Akhil going to do. Interesting days, interesting times, as Adisha Kitwit takes a very tight line into the corner there, allowing Akhil to take the outside line. The next corner again is a oh no, that was a little naughty there, but that's okay. There was no way for Adisha to go as well, as Akhil bounces the car 4 wheels on the curb and takes it, as Dasun Ranatunga comes down the inside there and goes down the inside. Adisha has no answer to that. Unfortunately, the cars all running pretty much equal, but such is the competition here that after 5 laps all the cars are in the same frame of the camera. So that's great stuff, great car driving, very clean. The yellow M&M branded Dilan Sabah's car, which has Launchpad on the side of it. I'm sure Launchpad being one of his sponsors, also takes Adisha Kitwit into the sharp right hand corner, and Adisha again having to fight another day and running in wide, as Kevin Pereira too tries to get the better of Adisha Kitwit, following in the same train as Dilan Sabah, but Adisha says no, you're not going just yet, and closes the door beautifully on Kevin Pereira. Kevin tries his level best to regain the position, but having to hold station and fight for another day. This is Akil Rizni in front, Dasun Ranatunga in second place, Dilan Sabha third, Adisha Kitwit fourth, Kevin Pereira fifth, Sachandana Patrina sixth, and Shamika Gamage in seventh place. As the two cars now running parallel with each other, as Kevin manages to get the better of him, but Kitwit gets the inside line. It's a beautiful little car, it handles beautifully, and he's got the line into the corner. As we ride on board with Kevin Pereira, there's no gain taking there, as everybody runs very smooth around these corners. Dasun Ranatunga still 1.3 seconds away from Akil Rizni, while Dilan Sabha is 2.9 seconds away from Dasun Ranatunga. Adisha Kitwit is still a smidgen and a little bit ahead of Kevin Pereira, but falling rapidly behind Dilan Sabha. We have 7 laps more to finish this final race for 2020, as Adisha Kitwit decides he has to come in for a fuel stop, which means Adisha Kitwit is going to be doing a 2-stop strategy. The first of our pit stop runners. As we run into the 5th lap, Adisha Kitwit deciding to go into the pits and take on a fresh set of rubber and a full tank of fuel. Sachandana Patrana, although he has the fuel, he may have to rethink his strategy where tyre wear is concerned. His tyres are pretty well seen the better light of day, as Kevin Pereira has managed to conserve his tyres a little bit better in the identical car. But Dilan Sabha, ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call conservation. He has managed to save his tyres to such an extent that I feel he's going to do 2 more laps before he comes into the pits. The Lamborghini and the Ferrari, very, very similar in its tyre wear and fuel usage. So we're almost 50% into the last race for 2020, as we find 2 cars here, Dasun Ranatunga, Akil Rizni, motoring around this 4.9 kilometer circuit, and with 13 laps on the cards, and now about 7 and a smidgen more to go to finish this CMSC Pro Am Championship for 2020. Akil Rizni still holds fort at the top step with about 5 laps more to go, with Dilan Sabah being chased relentlessly by Dasun Ranatunga. All credit to Dilan Sabah in the Japanese manufactured Mitsubishi Evolution, the car which is absolutely versatile on a circuit, in a rally, at a hill climb. The car managing to keep the glory of Mitsubishi alive in the good old days, and today Dilan Sabah does it at the Nürburgring, staying ahead of a Ferrari and behind a Lamborghini. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dilan Sabah in the bright yellow M&M and Launchpad sponsored Mitsubishi Evolution keeps on closing his gap to Akil Rizni, who is in front in that beautifully appointed green color Lamborghini. Kevin Pereira, championship contender in second place at the moment, is 10 seconds away from Dasun, whereas Adi Shakitwit trails Kevin Pereira by under 2 seconds. Beautiful car, lovely colored car, and you can see the car having very little body roll as he turns into the long right-hander, and Sachetana Patirana seems to have fallen a little bit from the competitive edge and dropped down to 17 seconds. We ride back with Dasun still following Dilan Sabah. The gap remains the same, but the gap between 1 and 2 seems to have reduced quite a bit. Dilan Sabah, Pro Bikes, M&M, J Homes, he's got a whole host of sponsors on his car. I'm sure he makes a bucket load of money as well from these sponsors. Even though it's esport, the sponsors do help in some small way, because there is quite a bit of branding on the car and quite a bit of mileage, as these events are aired live as well as shown later on different platforms by the drivers themselves, on Facebook, on Instagram, in their own private social media. These are all things that take place which add value to not only the driver's brand as well as the sponsors' brands that they do carry on their cars. Akil Rizni carrying the famous Milo, as Akil works for Nestle's. Launchpad being the sponsor for Dilan Sabah, and Dasun Ranatunga actually not carrying any kind of sponsor on his car. Beautiful to see. 10 laps down, the gap between car number 1 and car number 3 being under 1 second. That's what you require, 1.5 seconds to be exact. And that's a true testament to the competitiveness of this championship. These drivers racing from home invested quite a bit of time to discipline themselves, and now we have it as they are running in the final race for 2020 in the Pro-Am Championship, brought to you by Mobitel and Sri Lanka Telecom. in the last lap of the last race, as Akhil Rizni is being hounded by Dilan Sabha into the last few corners, and Dilan Sabha has managed to take the lead from Akhil Rizni. Akhil running a little wide into that corner. I'm not too sure whether there was any contact, but Akhil's tyres too have seen better days, as Dasun Ranatunga and Akhil come parallel with each other. But I have to tell you that this is an amazing drive by all three drivers. There may have been a little bit of contact. Motorsport is supposed to be a non-contact sport, but you do have a bit of an incident once in a way, and it is an amazing run, an amazing drive by all three drivers as Dilan Sabha comes up to take the last bit of these corners in his last lap. He comes up to the very infamous chicane. The sharp left-hander bounced over onto the right-hander, and he will take the checkered flag. No real change in the competition, the championship, but Dilan Sabha manages to win the race, and he gets the fastest time of the day as well, as Akhil Rizni and Dasun Ranatunga follow in suit as they come past the starter and take the checkered flag, as Kevin Pereira now manages to come past the checkered flag to take it, and we congratulate Dasun Ranatunga, Kevin Pereira and Dilan Sabha in that particular order as they win this championship. All due respect to Dasun Ranatunga, although he came third today, he's actually won the championship, and the winners of these championships are in for a beautiful surprise by courtesy of Mobitel. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. We thank our sponsors Mobitel, Sri Lanka Telecom and Demo 800 for being with us over the past couple of months. It were trying times during COVID. There was no motorsport in Sri Lanka. The Ceylon Motorsports Club came up with this absolutely phenomenal championship where you raced from home, you rallied from home, and it was brought to you by the Ceylon Motorsports Club. And we have to thank the organizers, especially Sam Hinkender and Sabri Salam, for putting this thing all together. We see you next year, and keep in touch. Stay safe.